A very good morning, class 11th. This is your subject physical education. We will be continuing with chapter number 5. Name of the chapter is Yoga. And today we are going to start with lecture number 2. And in this lecture we are going to talk about the elements of yoga. Okay, so we'll be talking about the elements of yoga. There are in total 8 elements of yoga. Which are known as Ashtanga Yoga. Okay, so there are in total 8 elements of yoga, and that is known as your Ashtanga Yoga. Okay, and the names of these elements are Yama, Niyam, third is asana. See, many of us, there are a lot of people who actually get confused between yoga and asana. So what the exercises kind of things which we perform, that is not yoga. Those are the asanas which we perform, right? So these are these are two different things. Fourth one is pranayam. You might have heard pranayam. You might have seen Baba Ramdev or many other people, those who perform yoga, they perform such kind of exercises which comes under pranayam. Okay. The fifth point is pratyahar, and we will be talking about each one of them in we are going to discuss about all of them separately afterwards. Pratyahar. Okay. 6, 7. Okay. The sixth one is your dharana. Seventh is your dhyana. Dhyan meditation. And last one is your samadhi. So, sorry, there is an A here. I have written all 8 of them because I know many of you just still don't have the books. So, there are 8 elements: Yama, Niyam, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. And today we are going to cover up these 2 elements of yoga. So, starting with the Yama. See, Yama is the very first element of yoga. And if we perform activities which comes under Yama, then we are going to abstrain ourselves. Abstrain means that we are going to restrain. We will stop ourselves from doing different things like practices. Okay, that keeps one mind involved in the unavoidable struggle for survival. So we will be abstraining our mind. Ourselves from all the practices which are done by a human being, practices which are inevitable. Inevitable means unavoidable. Unavoidable struggle for survival. Okay, so you need to understand that Yama will be having all those elements in it where we are going to, we are going to practice ourselves so that we just don't have these struggles which an individual does for their survival in this society, right? So we need to perform those activities so that we can come out of that whole struggle of it. Okay. Then the first point which comes under Yama is, now again there are subdivisions of Yama also. There are 5 in number. There are all total 5 points which we'll be talking about today. The first one is your ahimsa or non-violence. So the first one is ahimsa or non-violence. You might have heard about ahimsa also, you might have heard non-violence also. So ahimsa or non-violence means that keeping oneself away, from causing some kind of a difficulty or from causing this harm to an organism. So keeping away from causing harm to an individual or organism. Writing organism here. Why we have written organism? Because it is just not about the human beings we are talking here. We are also talking about all the animals, insects, each and everything which will or which might get injured or hurt because of you. So ahimsa or non-violence is something in which we need to keep ourselves away from causing any kind of harm to that particular organism. One should not think, not only you should just not do those actions where you are harming someone, but you should not have ill thoughts or bad thoughts, wrong thoughts, right? That inside your mind it is going on that I need to hurt that person, I need to slap him or whatever it is. So there should not be any, or these aggressive thoughts should not be there about anyone. So that is your ahimsa or non-violence. So you need to focus on this thing, right? Next point is a satya. Satya, you might have understood that it does mean truthfulness. That one should always be truthful towards everyone in the society, right? We must be truthful in thoughts, words and deeds. So we need to be truthful in our thoughts also. We should not have those false thoughts or all those lie thoughts that we are lying or we wanted to lie. All these kind of thought we should not have. No, we should have truthful thoughts, deeds, right? And the words which we speak. So the actions should be truthful, the words should be truthful, the thoughts which we are having should be truthful. So one must not lie, okay, and one must not have any kind of deed which is like false, right? Which is wrong, right? So there should not be any falseness, and the truth should be there at any cost. So one should be truthful at any cost. Be truthful at any cost. Okay. Next is Astya. Astya means, Astya means non-stealing. That one must not steal anything from anyone. So it is non-stealing. Now using others' thoughts, objects, right, or anything, etc. for your own benefit, that is stealing. That is stealing. So one must not do any of these things, right? Okay. So one more thing, it is important for you to understand that when we talk about yoga or when we talk about yama, it is not just about the physical, what we are doing, right? It is also how we think, what kind of expressions or emotions we have, so that we can achieve that particular goal of, connecting to the divine soul. So we should not only perform such acts which includes stealing, but we should also not think about stealing somebody's ideas or thoughts. Like for example, you should not if someone has given you a good idea about anything, and because of that idea you might also get some kind of profit or benefit, so you used his or her idea without telling them that I am going to use it for my own benefit, though it is just not your idea, but yes, you are using it because it is giving you some kind of a benefit. Okay, next is the next one is okay, one more thing in asatya is that you need to be very satisfied with what you have, so you should not like steal, or you should not even kind of ask someone else to steal. Okay, so next one is brahmacharya. Okay, see, brahmacharya means one should not get involved anything in which his or her sexual desires are fulfilled. So one must not involve into anything which leads to some kind of a sexual desire. That is your brahmacharya. That means one should not read the books related to it. One must not watch something which is related to all these desires. So one need to keep one thing in mind, that you need to restrain yourself. You don't have to perform any of the activity which is related to it. That is your brahmacharya. The last point is aparigraha. Okay, so aparigraha is there. Okay, so when we talk about aparigraha, like, see, it is obviously it is opposite of parigraha, and parigraha means when someone, collects or buys something for his or her own self-interest or satisfaction. So parigraha is like collecting money or objects. It can be anything, big houses, cars and everything, and objects for their own self-interest. That is known as your parigraha. And when we are going to talk about aparigraha, so aparigraha will mean that you are satisfied with whatever you have. You don't have to collect, or you don't have to save a lot of money or collect different objects. Okay, and whatever is given to you, whatever you have or whatever you have got from God's grace, that is enough for you and you are happy with it. So you need to be satisfied with what you have. Satisfaction with whatever you have. So why are we saying that? So that one must not have any kind of ill feeling towards anything, right? One must not feel greedy, right? Or anything like that I need to achieve more and more, or selfish. So if you will be satisfied with whatever you have, you will never have that greediness in you. You will not be selfish towards anyone or anything. That is why aparigraha is to be practiced. So in Yama we talked about asatya, that we need to be truthful towards anything. Ahimsa, that there should be no violence. Then we talked about brahmacharya, that you need to come out of all those things which are related to your sexual desires. Then we talked about aparigraha, and we also talked about astya, which is your non-stealing, right? So Yama had that 5 more elements in it. So the next element is niyama. Okay, so when we talk about niyama, you need to understand that it is related to your body and senses. So it is something which is related to body and senses. Okay. Niyama is something which is related to body and senses. And if you look into this word, that it means niyam. Niyam means regularly you need to perform these things, right? In say when you call it, जैसे नियम से करना चाहिए, regularly, on a regular basis you need to perform these things. And when we talk about niyam, we are talking about both, it is related to both body and the senses. So again in niyam also there are 5 elements. The first one is swach. Okay. Swach means purity. Okay. And when we talk about this purity, it is not just the external purity, but we are here also talking about the internal purity of an individual. So it is both external and internal. Okay, external means the body from outside, it should be neat and clean, and internal means your inner organs, right? So we are also going to talk about the organs. Okay, secondly, that purity should not only be something which is physical, it should also be mental. So purity should be physical. So there should be physical purity, in which we are talking about internal and external, and there should be your mental purity also. That mentally you don't have any wrong thoughts about anyone. You feel good and you maintain that thing. Your heart, your soul is all pure, and it all thinks or feels that purity only. There are no ill thoughts, no bad things, right? So physical is the external, the outer body, and the internal organ. And on yesterday's lecture, I was telling you about different Shuddhi Kriyas or Shad Karmas which are there, through which we actually not only purifies our body, but it also like cleans up your internal organs. It might be your nose, the whole respiratory system. And some of the examples are of Shuddhi Kriyas. Neti, Dauli, Kapalbhati. Right. So all these different, and there are several others. So all these different Shuddhi Kriyas are basically used to have this for cleaning or for purifying the body from inside, the organs to be cleaned from inside as well. So this is whole your Swachh. Next point is about Santosh, right? So Santosh means contentment, okay? It means contentment. Contentment means the feeling of happiness or satisfaction. So contentment means happiness or satisfaction. When you are all satisfied with whatever you have, or when you are happy with everything, that is the feeling of santosh, that you are happy, you feel that contentment, you feel happiness, you feel satisfied with whatever you have, right? And they say that an individual should be satisfied with everything, right? The wealth one is having, the knowledge one is having, one should actually, have this feeling that whatever is given to him by God or that supreme soul, that one should be satisfied with it, and one should not actually have any complaints about anything in his or her life. So santosh means that contentment, the feeling of happiness or satisfaction. So one should be satisfied with whatever one is having. Third point is tapa. So when we talk about tapa, it came from the word tap, कि हमने मेहनत करी है, तप किया है. That is the line which can be used here for the better explanation, I guess. So it is just saying that when you talk about tapa, it is like to endure all the hurdles, obstacles, the difficulties which comes to your life easily, in a way that of attaining the objective, right? And to go ahead continuously. See, whenever you want to achieve anything, right? If you have any goal in your life, so obviously you are going to have different hurdles, problems, difficulties. There will be hurdles, obstacles, difficulties in your life. But what we need to do is we need to we need to take care of them. We should not get really stressed out or anything. So we should be very easy on them. So we should be easily and try to attain them. So easily try to achieve those goals. And we should continuously work until and unless we achieve, right? So we should continuously work on it. So one should be regular on that, continuously, until and unless you know that you have achieved that particular aim or goal which you had in your life. If you haven't achieved that goal, whether there are there are so many hurdles or difficulties or obstacles which are there in your life, but still you need to be continuously working on achieving that particular goal. That is your tapa. Okay, so that tap, that I have worked really hard to achieve something, that is your tapa. Okay, the next one, D. The fourth one is your swadhyaya. So when we talk about swadhyaya, so swadhyaya is to study different religious books which are there. So they are saying that to study Vedas, Granths, Upanishads, Gita, and to study all this thing is known as, devotionally. When you study it with all your devotion towards it, that with devotion is your swadhyaya. Okay, till here you might have understood. To study Vedas, Granths, Upanishad, Gita, right? With devotion is your swadhyaya, and this is the first type of study one should do. So this is your first type of study which is important, which is to be done according to yoga, right? And the second type of study is about oneself. Is about oneself. Ask yourself questions like, who am I? What am I doing? Right? What are my goals in life? So one should understand about oneself. Also, one should have the study that why one is there in the society, what his or her exact rights and duties are, and why, what kind of goals one has to achieve. Okay, so the next one is, this is the last element which comes under niyam. The last one is your Ishwar Pranidhana. this word Ishwar Pranidhana, we mean that each and everything is dedicated to God. So everything is dedicated to God only. Okay, whatever you have achieved till date, whatever you have achieved, anything, it might be the job you have, it might be the status you have, it might be the money you have, it might be anything. That all should be dedicated to God only, all the deeds which till now you have performed. If you have won something, if you have lost something, if you have got something, some achievements, then all those things should be dedicated to God only, right? Now moving towards the homework for today's lecture. So question number 1 is, explain ahimsa. Okay. Question number 2, explain Swatch. Last question, write all the elements. So you need to list down all the elements of yoga. Just need to list down. Just name all 8 of them. Just need to list. Explanation of what ahimsa is and explanation of swatches. Okay, now we are going to discuss the homework from lecture number 1 of chapter number 5. So the question was, what do you understand by the term yoga? So yoga is union of individual soul with divine soul. Okay, this is your answer number 1. Moving towards the answer number 2. So the question was, write or explain any 3 importance of yoga. Okay. So the 3 importance of yoga are, it provides relaxation. So you can write any one of them. I am just explaining 3 here. All the asanas are there which provides relaxation, which is physical as well as your mental relaxation. Where an individual does not feel tired or fatigued physically, and one also not feel any kind of tension or stress mentally. Okay. Second, it reduces obesity. So it reduces the extra body fat. Okay, is reduced, and it also helps in controlling or maintaining the weight. So controlling the weight. Okay. Next point is increases flexibility. So it helps in enhancing your range of motion, enhanced range of motion. The different asanas which are there, right? Okay. So this is the end of your lecture. Thank you.